All right. So your prompt this week, CJ, is uncomfortable seats. That's two words. Wow, I'm bad at this, huh? Jesus.
That's
Anyway,
fine.
go with it. Here we go. Three, two, one.
They weren't uncomfortable. We were at a Hawks game recently, and we got our tickets upgraded to this new FanDuel suite, and those were the comfiest seats I've ever sat on in any sporting or movie theater event.
Whoa, that's awesome.
Yeah, they were fantastic. Nice leather, cushiony, brand new.
Hold on, we'll circle back to this in a second. Hey, welcome to the Overtalking Podcast with your hosts, Ken and CJ. Say hi, CJ. Yeah, so you notice the spooky music's still playing. We're kind of like doing a wrap-up episode of October because a lot of stuff happened, and it's maybe actually been a little bit since we've recorded some of these October episodes, so it'd be good to kind of sync back up because we've been doing a lot of stuff. For instance, that Hawks game upgrade. So the FanDuel suite.
Yeah.
Is it like an actual suite, like a box up top, or
it's not it's more on, it's like right above the 100 level. It's not the super
sweet.
high up, but
That's even better.
it's a brand new you anybody can walk into the FanDuel bar, and it feels like you've walked into Vegas because there's just an overwhelming amount of TVs everywhere. They've created a cylinder of TVs, this box. And then you can go up the stairs and still see all these TVs, and there's a second bar. And then up there, you go through this unmarked door, and that leads you out onto the actual seats where you watch the game.
cool?
Yeah.
Damn,
And then we had
that's awesome.
our own personal server. So they come by and hand you a FanDuel menu. So it's food just for these seats. I got the fanciest hot dog I've ever had in my life. This Wagyu hot dog with all these toppings. It was amazing. And some
Damn, how
French
much was
fries.
that?
It was expensive. But
Right.
I went in with the mindset of I don't know, I'm probably never going to get these seats again. So I'm going to go all out and get myself a fancy meal. And I got two old fashions that were fantastic, very tasty.
Nice.
And
That's
it
probably
was a
what they're
fantastic
banking
game.
on.
Yeah.
Cool. That sounds awesome, man.
Yeah,
That's
it was
really
super
cool.
fun.
You kind of won that. Damn.
And the Hawks won, I think it was 5-4. Very exciting game.
Nice.
Yeah.
Wow. High scoring game.
Yeah.
Jeez.
Super fun.
Cool.
And also, Ken,
Yes.
happy birthday!
Oh, thank you. Yes, we're recording on my actual birthday.
Yeah. This is how you wanted to spend it, right?
This is exactly what I wanted to be doing. Yeah, yeah. No, this is fun. I get to talk about Music Box of Horrors in a little bit, which was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
And we're still talking about horror stuff for a little bit. So, that's pretty good.
Yeah.
Pretty exciting.
And I think our smart listeners will put together your prompt is directly associated with the music box, correct? The uncomfortable seats.
Oh, yeah, right. Yes. Yeah, we'll definitely get to that a little bit because I pretty much injured myself this year.
Jeez.
Sitting in those fucking seats. But before we get to the music box stuff, we are going to, you probably heard the prompts. All month of October, we were asking our guests what the first horror movie that scared them was. And we asked you all several times what the first horror movie that scared you was. And wow, the overwhelming outpouring of responses was pretty hard to keep up with. So we just chose one.
Yeah. We were these are too many. We got to just pick one.
Yeah.
One representation of all of the hundreds of voicemails we got.
Right. And rather than putting anyone who maybe hasn't been on the podcast on the spot, we figure we pick someone who maybe is intimately familiar and helps with the podcast even to maybe be a sample for the, literally at least one of the many that we got. So, CJ, why don't you hit that play button?
There we go.
Hey, Overtalking boys. This is Justin Peters, composer and friend of the show.
Hey.
I'm just calling in to tell you about the first horror movie that ever scared me, which was Freddy vs. Jason, 2003. I went and saw this in the theater with my dad and my stepmom. I was 10 years old. And it was scary, but also I recall a lot of really terrible sex scenes and I was so uncomfortable being in the theater with my dad and stepmom that I pretended to be scared of the movie and asked them to take me home, and so we left the theater early, and it's like one of the only times I've ever left the theater early. So, scared by sex, not by murderers. Enjoy your Halloween.
Wow, that truly is a scary experience.
Yeah.
Jesus.
Oh, what a move. That's great. Oh, man, I got to get out of here. I'm too scared. Please take me home.
I feel like it's almost worse because you're like calling attention to it almost. I mean, like your parents knew what was going on, right?
Yeah, I think that's one of those things where you're a kid and you're like, oh, I'm super smart by doing this. Like, this is the right move.
Yeah.
And
I'm
they're
being sly.
adults being like, okay, we see exactly what's happening here.
Right. But also, like, 10's pretty young to be seeing Freddy vs. Jason, I think.
Yeah, maybe it was a good thing that you left because otherwise you may have had nightmares for a while.
Clearly it turned out fine, but yeah, damn, that's a lot for a 10-year-old to kind of wrap their head around, especially with all the sex scenes. And I'm sure you had a lot of questions for your family when you got home and had deep conversations about it. But
you got the birds and the bees talk after that.
Everyone's got to learn somehow, and through Freddy vs. Jason, it seems like the best way to me.
Now, I'm not familiar with this movie. Is this finally that they have sex with each other?
Yeah. Now, it's in true horror fashion. Obviously, Freddy has the knife fingers, so it's it's not as sweet and intimate as normal, but things get bloody. Is all. I'll say.
Okay.
Anyway,
he leaves the glove on.
Obviously, that's what people came there for. CJ.
Got it.
Yeah.
All right, I might have to watch this. Now I'm interested.
You don't really want to hear about Freddy vs. Jason, do you?
No, not really.
I didn't think so.
I've got just enough
set me off,
of a hint.
CJ. I'm ready to talk about it, but I don't think you want that. We'll cover it on the podcast at some point.
Where in the franchise did it come out at least? Like how many?
Super late. Super late. Like it's the second to last movie ever made.
Oh, got it. Okay.
Yeah. They were trying to make it for a while, but there's rights issues, right? Because you got two huge franchises and trying to put them together. So they finally got it out, and I don't think it made that much money, so they decided to never do it again. So I enjoyed it, though. It wasn't a very good movie in real terms, but I thought it was fun. So
got it. Okay.
But we should cover that in the podcast. I think that would be a good time. Maybe we have Justin on, and he can talk about it maybe next year. Justin, that's a call out.
Yeah. I wonder if he's ever finished seeing it.
Oh, yeah. Maybe not. Maybe he wouldn't want to watch it because it's too traumatic at this point.
Too scarring.
Yeah. Huh. Interesting. Well, yeah, we have to do this podcast now. We gotta ask him all these questions, find out what's going on.
Thank you for the voicemail, Justin. Very
Thank you, Justin, and thank you to everyone else who called or wrote
So sorry
in.
we don't have time to get to your voicemails.
Yeah, we just don't have time. We do have to get to the Music Box of Horrors part, but
that's right.
We still love you. So all right, let's just get into the Music Box of Horrors then.
You survived. You're alive.
I survived, and spoiler alert, I made it the whole time again. Wow. I did it, but not without some scars, in a sense. So we'll get to that in a little bit. But I got there super early again, earlier than last time. It is earlier compared to when it opens. It starts at noon. I got there at 9:45.
Dang.
To get in line.
So popcorn for breakfast.
Popcorn for breakfast, yeah. I think I had McDonald's or something shitty to start out the whole thing is the best way to do that. But I was sort of 20th in line at that point. There's hardcore people who go to this thing and are they had folding chairs and stuff out there. It's wild.
Wow.
But as I was in line, I was actually talking to a couple of people around me in line, and the person behind me was one of the people who originally started the Music Box of Horrors.
Whoa.
Way back in the day, back when it was called the Music Box Massacre. And so I was talking to him, and there's this whole curiosity I've had about the history of the Music Box of Horrors, because there's now currently two big horror movie marathons in Chicago, the Music Box of Horrors and the Massacre, which both split out from what was originally the Music Box Massacre. And I was curious, what happened there? So I asked him, and He probably didn't know I was going to talk about it on a podcast, but what are you going to do? Anyway, here we go. So he told me that the person who now runs the massacre used to be involved with, the Music Box at the beginning for however many years that they called it the Music Box Massacre. But he was doing some shady shit, more or less. He didn't give me any details, but wasn't the best person to be in business with effectively. And they asked him to leave effectively, and but gave him the name. And the person behind me, I didn't get his name. I should have, but he's like, which was weird because I thought of the name, but whatever. He doesn't live in Chicago anymore. This person behind me, he moved elsewhere in the country, but he came back in town for this specific one, which was kind of cool. But yeah, anyway, after that, the person took the name, The Massacre, and started his own. He's not really with a theater or anything. He just kind of floats around this other marathon, which I've been to several times, and it's definitely not as good as the Music Box of Horrors. I'll say that much.
There we go. That was my question. Yeah.
Yeah. It's not. And this dude's kind of strange as well. So anyway, it kind of all made sense. But yeah, it was just kind of interesting to finally kind of get some backstory to what I've been curious about for several years now.
Yeah.
But yeah, anyway, that's the interesting stuff. Then I went in and started the marathon. So CJ, are you ready to go through the movies?
Yes.
All right, well, let's dive in. The first one, CJ, you would have actually really enjoyed this. It was Messeist in Hell. I don't think I'm saying that right, but the backstory behind this movie is that this is number 14 in a, I think, 34-part movie series from Italy.
Whoa.
This movie was released in 1925, and apparently this was a common thing that would happen back in the day where you would have like a returning character who would just do different things, kind of like Ernest Scared Stupid, right?
Yes. So curious to hear your thoughts on that one.
That's the last one. We'll get to it in a little bit. But yeah, so Messeist is the main character in this, and this is the only horror entry in all of those other movies, apparently. And when they were introing it, he's like, by the way, it's okay that you didn't see the previous 13 movies before this.
Good to know.
Yes, but it's a silent movie, and they had Max McGathy, who has done some live scores for these other silent films in the past, but he brought with him a full band this time.
Whoa,
and they did
that's
like
cool.
a hard rock metal score to this.
Dang.
And it was so loud, and the drums were rocking, and it was awesome, man. It was so cool.
Yeah, that sounds amazing.
It was a great way to kick it off. Anytime they would like go to hell in the movie, it would like get really gritty and like loud, and it was a great way to start. And I loved it. It was so cool. Messeist did make it out of hell, just so you know.
Oh, okay, good. Whew, I was worried.
Yeah, I know. If there was a theme for these movies this time, it was probably like hell, because half of these movies have to do with hell. Anyway, so that was movie number 1. Movie number 2, Night of the Hunter, an older movie, not really a horror movie. Meg showed up for this one.
Nice.
And Meg was actually there for 10 full hours of movies this time, which was awesome. And Cameron dropped by for a couple too.
Awesome.
Friend of the show, Cameron. But Night of the Hunter, nothing to write home about. Not really a horror movie, more of just a thriller from 1955. Okay, moving on. I'm going to try to keep this a little shorter this year because I feel like last year just droned on and on about different movies that no one cares about. So I'll just hit on the important things. Next one, 3:40 p.m., third movie, Hellbound, Hellraiser 2. CJ, I know you've seen this before.
Oh, yeah.
Tell us your thoughts.
Hellraiser is kind of my boy. A big fan. I actually helped.
Who's Hellraiser?
You know, the person with the spiky face.
CJ's name's Pinhead.
Yeah,
that's
it.
not Hellraiser is not a person. I don't think.
No, he goes, but that's his nickname. It's Pinhead, aka Hellraiser.
AKA Hellraiser.
Yeah, you didn't know that?
Man, you're a bigger fan than me, so I'll take your word for it.
Yeah, these are my favorite. They go to hell, I think.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they do. Good job.
Yep,
this movie, they go to hell. Keep it with the theme, like I said. Meg and I had watched Hellraiser in preparation for this because she had never seen it before, and then watched Hellraiser 2.
Which one's better?
You know, it's hard to say. Hellraiser 1 is maybe a little more straightforward. Hellraiser 2 is like they're running through hell and there's no real plot. So I guess Hellraiser 1. I think I answered my own question.
Yeah.
I forgot to mention I've been writing some reviews. I haven't gotten through my Letterboxd backlog yet for all of these movies, but for some of them I've written reviews for and kind of put a CJ, whether or not you would like them.
Nice.
So this one, my review is no plot, but still enjoyable and weird. CJ, too much goop.
Too much goop.
Too much.
I don't
goop
mind
for
some
you.
goop.
There's a lot of goop. A lot of like bloody, pussy goop. I don't know.
All right, pus is bad. I don't mind blood though. Gore's fine.
Okay. There's like people who like don't have skin, so they're like goopy. I don't know.
Gotcha.
Anyway, that was fun. And then I think I took a quick step outside and called in to check in. So let's take a listen to that.
Hey, CJ, it's Ken. Got through 3 movies, and there's a dog barking. I don't know if you can hear that. Both Meg and Cameron are here, friends of the show. And yeah, it's going pretty well. All right, I'll check back in and maybe 3 more movies. All right, bye.
Love it. Full of energy, positive, excited.
No doubt. Yes.
Just we're riding up the roller coaster. It feels like you're going up and up and up. Feels good so far. Can't wait to hear where you land.
Absolutely. And, to give myself credit, I've sat through 3 whole movies at this point and I still have that much energy. So,
True.
But I recognize the literal marathon of this. But yeah, CJ showed up, or sorry, not CJ, Cameron. Cameron showed up in the middle of Hellraiser and had no idea what was going on. He had never been to the Music Box before. That was his first time there.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I was surprised. I thought I had been with him before, but no, yeah, he had never been before, and he was kind of oohing and awing over the Music Box theater of it and the twinkly lights in the ceiling,
the atmosphere.
But yeah, so then we got to the weirdest movie of the entire marathon. It's only 38 minutes long. It's called Computer Hearts. It was the world theatrical premiere of it because it's just a video that was like online that they found the creators of and were like, hey, can we show this at our festival? So, wow, I'm not sure how to describe this movie without like offending people probably, but the way that this movie was introduced was this is the computer fucking movie. So yeah, that probably gives people an idea. There's this guy, he lives in a apartment with his fiance and he is like basically falling in love with this like online chat bot waifu thing. And it slowly starts to morph into more human parts. The computer becomes a literal female sex organ at one point. And anyway, yeah, I've already said what this movie is. So yeah, it was that thing went on for several minutes of no talking and just that. And it was the weirdest fucking thing. And the audience was dying laughing and in uncomfortableness.
I've just done a Google image search and yeah, this looks pretty interesting.
Yeah. If you're curious, I'm sure it's online for free. So feel free to look up Computer Hearts. It's a wild ride, but they had the star and the co-director in attendance for a Q&A afterwards.
Oh, nice.
Which was really interesting. So the main actor in this film actually had transitioned since making this film into a woman, and then his counterpart, or I guess her counterpart, who was a female, also transitioned, and they're still together, which was a really interesting story. But yeah, they just make weird movies together, and then I don't know, we're just thrilled to be sharing it with an audience. So
nice.
Yeah, really interesting. I don't know. Anyway, not much more to say about that. Look it up if you want to know more, but that was the weirdest thing. And that was like the first full movie that Cameron sat through, and he's like, holy shit, what am I in for? So, yeah, anyway, I felt a little bad for Cameron showing up for that, but he did stick around for another movie afterwards. Any questions on any of this, CJ? I don't want to just plow through here.
Question on that, like, can you just show up and buy, like, how does the ticket work? Can he just bought a ticket for the one movie?
So I don't know, there was a little confusion. He had told me earlier on, like a few weeks ago, that he had bought his own ticket, but you have to buy it for the whole time. It's a
Oh, you
24-hour
do?
ticket,
Okay.
but you can come and go. You get like a wristband. You can come and go as you want. But the ticket's really cheap. It's like $25 for the whole day. Of
Oh, dang.
13
Okay.
movies. So it's totally affordable. Which is probably why it sells out like every year pretty early.
Yeah.
But yeah, apparently he hadn't bought a ticket. Luckily, I had an extra one, so I gave him that.
Oh,
It was a little scary when he got there. He's like, "Hey, so what's up?" I'm like, "What's up? Just give him your ticket." And he's like, "I don't have one." I'm like, "Shit, dude." All right. I'm like, "Luckily, we're good." But damn. Anyway, it worked out. So let's get to the next movie. The next movie was Blood for Dracula. This is I said this last week, I believe. But this is the follow-up to Flesh for Frankenstein. I think you guys might have thought I was kidding, but that was a literal other movie with basically the same cast and same director that they made right before this, Blood for Dracula.
my guess is though, if you were to ask Dracula, he's like, "Well, all blood is for me. I'm Dracula."
Yeah, exactly. But that is actually not true. In this movie, Dracula can only drink virgin blood. Or as they say in the movie, virgin blood, because he's got a thick Austrian or German accent or something.
Transylvanian accent.
No, it wasn't that. It was something else. It's definitely not accurate by any means. But yeah, Udo Kier, do you know him? If you do a quick Google search of him, I'm sure you recognize his face. He's a well-known character actor. He's the star of this and Flesh for Frankenstein. He was also in Blade, actually, for a little bit too, which will be coming up in a couple of movies.
He does look a little familiar.
Right?
He is German, so that makes sense.
He's German. Okay, yes. So yeah, he was in attendance. He watched the movie with us. He said he hadn't seen it in like 30 years, and then they did a great Q&A with him afterwards. That went on for much longer than I think they expected, but like he just kept wanting to talk about the movie. And he's like, "You flew me out here. Like, let's keep talking about it." So anyway, it was really good. He clearly had a great time. And I think this was Meg's favorite movie of the entire ones that she saw, at least. So I would say check it out. It was a lot of fun watching with an audience. It's really funny. I probably wasn't intended to be funny at the time, but it was kind of one of those movies that if you watch now, you're gonna definitely laugh at, because
He was also in Ace Ventura: Pet Detective.
oh dang. So then after that was Devil Times 5. Oh, hold on. Got to read my reviews. I got to circle back. Oh, yeah, wait. Let's see what my review for Computer Hearts was. Wow, probably the most explicit thing I've ever seen in a theater. Most memorable thing I saw at the marathon. CJ, maybe for giggles because it's short. I don't know if you're going to watch this, though. Like, I don't think
Probably
that's gonna
not.
happen. No. And then Blood for Dracula. A lot of fun. Udo Kier was in attendance. I already talked about all that. All right, for CJ, maybe with friends. Okay, like I said, yeah, it's good to watch with people to laugh at, I think. All right, Devil Times 5. There's some children who escape a mental asylum and kill some other people. It's fine. It wasn't that good. They try to show all of these things in 35 millimeter, like actual film reel prints when they can. And they went way out of their way to get a film reel for this movie, and it was like in awful condition. Like it's supposed to be in color, but it was so faded. Everything was pink.
Oh, no.
Yeah. So that was, it kind of added some atmosphere to it, but it wasn't that good of a movie anyway. So let's see what I wrote about that. Overall enjoyable, typical 70s horror. CJ might enjoy with an audience. Wow, I seem to be repeating myself. This is great. Sure, this is awesome to listen to. I'm really glad you guys are sticking with this.
You can tell your mind is fading that if you're just writing the same review over and over. Like,
Right. You can tell also because I stopped writing the reviews at a certain point too. I'm like, I don't have the energy to do this. All right, so then we get to Blade, which, have you seen Blade?
No, I hear it's good though, right?
Okay, I hadn't seen it either. Yeah, it's one of those movies that's like mainstream, right? Mm-hmm. But I had never seen it before. I did doze off a little bit during this, just because it started at like 11:10 at night.
So yeah, you've already been there for 13 hours.
And it's a 2-hour movie. And I was like, oh my God, I can't do this anymore. But from what I remember, it was very good. I did stay awake from the beginning and the end at least, which was cool. There's a lot of great action sequences. But I'm sure, CJ, you would like it.
Yeah, I should watch it.
My review was, I can't believe I haven't seen this before. And for CJ, he must have seen this before. So, nope, guess not. I guess I was wrong.
But yeah, that's part of they're gonna like reboot that with the MCU, right? Like they've already teased at that.
Yeah, did they announce who's going to be Blade?
I'm going to butcher his name.
All right, we'll move on.
Mahershala Ali.
Oh, wait, I think I do know who that is. I mean, the thing I know him from is the 4400, which is a sci-fi TV show. I wonder if Cameron's seen that. What else has he been in? He's been in some other bigger things.
He's been in Luke Cage, but
really, that's messy.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
because he's
been in
now.
Green Book, Moonlight, Swan Song, True Detective, and then he like pops up in Eternals when we get like a sneak peek at Blade.
Oh, really? Interesting.
Yeah, one of the post credits of Eternals.
That's one I haven't seen. I feel like I try so hard. Well, I don't try that hard, but it's literally impossible to keep up with all the Marvel stuff at this point.
No, it's not.
We'll talk about that more next week, maybe. But I am having a hard time keeping up. There's a lot of stuff. Like that needs to be the only thing I'm watching, basically, if I want to be up to date.
Yeah.
All right. So we got through Blade. I had dozed off a little bit, and I was like, you know what? Probably a good time to call back in. So let's take a listen to the second voicemail I left.
Hey, Siege, it's Ken. It's maybe 1 a.m. at this point. I'm over halfway done. Took a little baby nap during Blade, but feeling good. And yeah, all right, I'll check in, and I'm sure I'm going to sound just the same. Okay, bye.
I like too that you're holding a phone and you're like, I think it's this time of day. I have no idea.
It's up to my face, CG. I can't see it. I'm talking to you.
So already losing it. Don't know what time it is.
It was dark. I left.
It's like you're in a casino. There's no no lights or windows or clocks. So
exactly.
You have no idea.
It's very confusing. It is a little disorienting, like going in during the day, coming out at random times, and it's night or day, or I don't know what the fuck's going on. But yeah, so the next two movies I tried to at least try to stay awake through because I was interested in them. This one, the times are a little off, but it started around 1:20 a.m. And it was called Twilight Syndrome: Dead Go Round.
Great name.
It was an amusement park themed one, so I assume it's a take on like Merry Go Round, but like Dead Go Round. This one's interesting because this was part of two movies that were released for the Nintendo DS.
What?
As a tie-in to a Nintendo DS game called Twilight Syndrome. Very strange. I looked up the Wikipedia for it. It was an interesting read, but yeah, somehow they got a digital copy of it and showed it at the music box of this one specifically. The plot is like there's the game maker for Twilight Syndrome has like a real life game to put some players to pit each other against and with deadly consequences. And people die off at a amusement park. That's pretty much it. It's made in Japan or something. I'm not sure. It's a foreign film. Only 71 minutes long. It was interesting. I don't know. The fact that it was for the Nintendo DS and like the Nintendo DS itself was like built into the story kind of made it unique, I think.
Yeah. That's fascinating.
Yeah, I know. Anyway, it was fine. I liked it. And then at 2:45 a.m., they had Idle Hands.
Nice.
Which we've talked about on the show before. Really great. I remember when we talked about it on the show, I gave it a lower score than I think I was planning to because it had some problematic like aging elements, like some poor language.
Yeah, you gave. By the way, Idle Hands did not realize this. Episode 15.
Wow, that early.
Yeah,
okay.
You gave it a 6, and I also gave it a 6, and Zach from the Have To podcast gave it a 7.
Okay, I for the record want to amend that score. I've seen it, I think at least twice since we recorded that episode. Once in another horror festival with the director in attendance, which was a lot of fun to see. He had some great stories, and he had a short video of like behind the scenes making of footage that he showed that's not available anywhere. That was really cool. And then, seeing it here as well. just confirmed my current rating for this movie is a 8.5.
Wow.
It is a good movie. I recommend it. Look, it's made in 1999. Some of the language didn't age very well.
Yeah.
Just
Just about every movie from that era.
Yeah. Look, you're not going to be able to watch anything before certain points if you're going to, be worried about stepping on eggshells about everything. I understand it is offensive in today's day and era for certain things. And again, they're one-off comments. They're not like a major plot point or anything. So I'm not going to let that detract too much from my rating. I'm letting it detract a half point. So this movie's a lot of fun. It's like great cast. It's really funny. And I think I'm going back to it. I think this is one of the best movies to watch on Halloween. If whether you're at home alone or with people, it's 92 minutes, tight 92 minutes. It's a good, fun Halloween movie.
I've been sort of wondering if we should do like a revisit month or something like that. Like go back to super early movies.
That's a great idea.
Yeah.
Movies that deserve another shot.
Because I think I know, I think I can speak for both of us of like, we have changed a lot over the time of recording this.
I know.
And I'm sure I would have, different opinions on movies now and maybe not take them so seriously or to realize oh, this is just supposed to be a fun movie. Right? You're not supposed to take this seriously.
All right, let's get a running list together of 4 movies. We can each pick 2 or something. Do you have any movies while we're talking about it off the top of your head you're thinking about?
No, but I'm I would probably want to just choose movies from episode 1 through 50, super early stuff to see if we would react differently this time.
Two movies that are popping out in my head. I don't know if one of them qualifies or not, but I'm good to know that Idle Hands does because I think that would be a good one. The other is Shin Godzilla. I think you need to give that another shot.
That's right. I gave that a 4.
Do you know what number that was?
That was episode 37.
Okay, that applies.
Yeah, you gave it a 9.5.
We'll see if there's any others, though.
It's insane.
Yeah. I don't know. Maybe if we get some guests who might be interested in these, it might help things too.
Right. Maybe National Treasure, episode 39, we both gave it in the 5 range. Already, I'm no way that's a 5. That's a fun movie.
Yeah, I think I need to... Yeah, you're right. I think some of these things you need to go in with the right mindset. Mm-hmm. I think I was going into that. I'm fuck, it's National Treasure. This plays on TBS all the time. I guess I'll watch it.
Yeah.
They're making another National Treasure too. That might be a good one to talk about.
Yeah. Is it a show or a movie?
Oh, I don't know. I'd assumed it was a movie, but I guess I don't know. I don't think Nicolas Cage is involved though.
It's a show. National Treasure: Edge of History.
Okay.
A 1-season show.
I wonder if Nicolas Cage even makes a cameo or not.
I would hope so. It's going to be on Disney Plus. That's right. It airs in December.
Oh, soon. Okay,
yeah.
Interesting. All right, CJ, we got 4 more movies to crank through. Let's do it. Next movie, Killing a Satan. I slept through most of it. It was really bad. It was a movie that was from I don't know, somewhere in South America, I'm assuming. It was not, it was clearly dubbed. It was bad. I don't even know what the plot was. Some dude has powers from God and he fights Satan with them and they're awful, awful special effects. 0 out of 10. Slept through most of it. No regrets. CJ, you would have no patience for it. So this is where I begin to injure myself slowly, where I am trying to sleep in these god-awful chairs.
Uh-huh.
I bring a seat cushion to these things because the chairs are, again, the worst.
Uh-huh.
And to sit on it upright is fine. It's great. But again, no neck support or anything. So if you want to sleep, you either have to prop up a pillow or something to try to bend over sideways and rest your head on something, anything.
Mm-hmm.
So
the person next to you.
Yeah, exactly. Everyone, I'm alone at this point. I will call out. Meg left after Blood for Dracula, I think, and so did Cameron. So I'm alone at this point. So the seat next to me is empty. I try to lean over it. I no longer am sitting on my seat cushion because I want to sink down lower. and I use the seat cushion. I fold it over, and I try to use that as a pillow on like the top part of the next seat. Mm-hmm. So I'm like, and yeah, anyway, I'm straining my back as I'm trying to sleep, and it's the worst. And I do that for the next 3 movies. So here we go. No, actually, I did take a break because I needed to stretch my legs and my back after that. So I stepped outside, and I called into the podcast again.
Hey, so you just can. It's about 6:30 in the morning. I got
So thrilled.
3 more to go. This sucks still. God. All right, that's it. Bye.
Short and to the point. My patience is worn thin at this point.
Quite a difference between that and the last voicemail.
I'm literally physically straining to sleep at this, and it's the worst. Especially having sat through that awful movie. Like the fact that I wasn't really missing anything, so that I could sleep was nice. But at the same time, I'm like, I wish it was something interesting. I don't know.
Yeah.
The previous movie, The Killing of Satan, and the next 2 they called the Sleaze block. So like a block of movies that are all like sleazy, meaning like shitty, or like have nudity for no reason, or I don't know. So the next movie started at like 6:30 a.m. It's called The Oracle. I don't remember what this movie is. What is this movie? Wow, I literally don't remember it. This is wild.
You were that tired.
Okay. Yeah, I tried to sleep through most of this movie too. I don't know. I can't tell you a plot. We're going to move on. 8:15 a.m., starting to come back a little bit. This one's called Flesh Eater. Have you heard of the Night of the Living Dead?
Yeah.
Like the original zombie movie, right? Like huge movie. Everyone knows it. Black and white. The first zombie that shows up in that movie, the actor who played him, decided, hey, Night of the Living Dead is still in the public domain. I'm going to rip it off and make my own zombie movie and play another zombie. So I guess this technically could be part of that canon because he plays another zombie. But yeah, it's basically a random series of zombie attacks with very little connective tissue and lots of breasts for no reason.
Okay.
Yep. Meg came back though in the middle of this, so she got to catch the middle and end of it, and it.
I'm sure she was thrilled by that.
Yeah, no, absolutely, especially since the ending just like draws out for 30 minutes for no reason. Horrible movie, not good. 2 out of 10. You would hate it. No time for that. All right, CJ. Before we get to the final movie, any questions, comments, concerns?
I mean, a concern for your health for sure. Your mental state, but other than that, no.
All right. So to help out my mental state, the final movie is, of course, Ernest Scared Stupid.
Yeah, here we go.
Here we go. I had never seen any Ernest movie before. CJ, have you seen a lot of Ernest
I don't
movies?
think so. No.
Any?
I don't think so. If I have, it was probably in like middle school, and I don't remember.
Okay. I didn't even know like what his shtick was. Obviously, I know he's like funny for children. Kind of was what all I knew.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, it's a pretty good movie. I mean, especially for, I guess, what was supposed to be a kid's movie, but it was, I mean, it definitely wasn't scary or anything, but at least it was enjoyable to watch. And it was kind of funny at parts, maybe because I hadn't slept in 24 hours or whatever. But yeah, I enjoyed it. I'd give it a 6.5 out of 10.
Okay. That's not bad.
It's not bad, right? I'd watch it again. It was good.
Nice.
That's it. Then when we all went outside and everyone who had been there the whole time took a picture together, and and I called into the podcast and went home and slept. But yeah, before I slept, this is what I had to say.
This is always my favorite part, the last voicemail.
Hey, CJ, it's Ken. I did it. I probably sound better than last year just because I did sleep through a good portion of this one. But yeah, anyway, I did it. So that's it. All right, love you. Bye.
So that might be a little anticlimactic. I know you were really hoping I was going to sound like death, but
like last year, yeah.
Yeah.
That you like called from a car, I think you were sleeping in.
I forgotten to call in last year, and after sleeping for like 5 minutes, I was like, "Fuck, I gotta call in." No, this was better. I don't know. It probably was a combination of both. Well, definitely, actively trying to sleep through some of these movies, even though I didn't really get full sleep. and being with other people, right? Like
Yeah.
Meg came for the end of this, and then, Meg and Cameron were there for part of the beginning. So I don't know, just kind of made it more of a enjoyable and better experience, I guess.
And now the question everybody wants to know, are you going again next year?
I don't know. Here's the thing. Last year, I know I felt pretty down, and I was like, I don't think I can do it again. Mm-hmm. Clearly, I can.
Yeah.
With the help of like figuring out a way to get at least a little bit of shut eye. I think that was key. But the fact that half of the movies in the morning were not worth seeing
Yeah.
makes me question, is it worth it?
Ken, I want to remind you too, you can go and not stay for the full 24 hours.
Exactly. So, maybe next year, I think it all depends. I think it depends on what movies they are.
Yeah.
I think I'll maybe do a little more research into what they are, especially the early morning ones.
Yeah.
And maybe decide, is it worth it to stay the whole time, or is it maybe make more sense to go for a large chunk of it, but then maybe like around 1 a.m. drive home and sleep. Or, I could still even maybe coming back in the morning if there's something early morning that I want to see. But
Exactly.
yeah, I don't know. It was not, it was cool to see Idle Hands, which unfortunately, if I wanted to do that this time, I would have had to stay through 4 a.m.
Oh, yeah.
So I don't know. It's tough. And especially since I don't live in the city anymore, it's not that easy to do. So
Right. Yeah.
yeah, a lot to consider. I love this. I mean, this is like my Christmas, right? I love going to this thing, but it's tough, and especially when they show some movies that are just not for me. So I don't know. I had a good time overall, but it was tough, and I literally hurt my back.
Yeah.
Like for most of this week, because I'm recording this a week after this. Just spoil the news, and all week my back has been literally fucked up. Like,
Dang.
I've been in pain. Like, for one night I couldn't even sleep in bed. I had to sleep in a recliner because I couldn't sleep on my side because it was that bad. So I don't know. That alone is like, that's more lost sleep.
Yes. Yeah. That's not great.
Not great. I don't know. I'm gonna have to do some weighing next year, I think.
Yeah.
I'm getting older. This is getting harder.
Yeah. Do some research. Make yourself a sort of like a set list of like, okay, here's the ones I want to hit, and then balance the, is it worth it or not? Or can you drive home, get some sleep, head back in the morning to finish it off?
Right. Exactly. Yeah. Well, I think the real question is, CJ, next year, will you be attending?
Depends on the movies. We'll see.
Okay.
There's no way in hell I'm ever doing the 24-hour marathon, but I might. Yeah, maybe I'll pull a Cameron and show up for a few weird ones, be very confused, and then leave.
They're a good time. I mean, yeah, especially the weird ones, right? Because they're not scary,
right?
And most of the audience, honestly, is laughing at them. So it's more of like a comedy experience.
And I think that's the way to see these is with a room full of people. Like, there's no way I'm going to ever sit down by myself and watch any of these. But if I'm in that atmosphere, it's probably way more fun.
Exactly. And I almost wonder that if that's what they were going for with the like quote unquote sleaze block, right? Like, if those had been shown much earlier in the cycle when people actually had energy, would have they been movies to laugh at? Probably. I don't know. But I think just no one had patience for that at that point. So it's all mindset. But that's it. I did it.
You did it. You're alive.
I think the most thing I'm excited that came out of this podcast is for us to circle back and do a follow-up month.
Yeah. I think that'd be fun, right?
Right, yeah. I think we're already in November, and then December is, I think we already have a couple things planned for December.
Yeah.
So maybe early next year we figure out a month to do that.
Yeah. We can do January. It's like a new year, but we're going back in time.
Yeah, exactly. New year, time to reevaluate, take stock, and see if some of these movies are actually good.
Yeah. And we already hinted at it. We talked about Marvel a bit already, but next week we will be doing another Marvel episode. We'll be discussing She-Hulk, per usual.
Yes.
We're going to keep reviewing anything they put out, I think.
Yes, absolutely. Like I said, I'm trying to keep up with it. CJ, I think you're better about having seen everything, but we'll dive more into it next week. But yeah, so tune in next week for She-Hulk, and we'll get to that. So, CJ, do we have anything to plug at the end here?
Follow us on all things at Overtalking Pod. Go to our website, overtalkingpod.party. You can type in the word of a movie, see if we've done it. If you have any suggestions for a revisiting month, let us know. They're all on that website. Or email us, overtalkingpod@gmail.com.
Oh, no, they're here. Oh. The Overtalking Overlords have arrived. They are our ghastly, otherworldly landlords who show up at the end of every episode to remind me to remind you, if you like the show, please go on iTunes. No, Apple Podcasts. It's Apple Podcasts, people, or Spotify, or anywhere you listen to podcasts, and rate and especially review. Reviews are what help people find this podcast. Also, we spend enough money on advertising. Have you seen the Mario trailer, CJ? We'll get to that in a second. And tell a friend and spread the word. We really appreciate it. Thank you.
No, I have not. I don't watch trailers.
There's one point in the trailer where Mario, who's voiced by Chris Pratt, who's doing like a very vague Italian accent.
Great.
He says he's running off towards the Mushroom Kingdom. He says, "Here we come." And friend of the show, Jim Plackey, we all work together. We're on Slack together, and he's like, "That was my biggest problem." He's like, "It's Mario. It should have been, 'Here we go,' right?"
Yes. Yeah.
Here we go.
Yeah.
But they say, "No, here we come." Like actively the wrong thing.
Jeez.
Very upsetting. Anyway, short aside. And as we always say,
we'll see, bitch.
Bye.
Bye.
This episode of the Overtalking Podcast was produced by Ken and CJ. Edited by CJ. Music by Justin Peters. Logo by Nate Richards. Check out Nate's work on Instagram at Nate Richards Designs.